Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you sharp, actionable insights. Today we're doing a strategic deep dive, really aimed at top leadership, looking at something transformative in pharma manufacturing. We're talking about the autonomous pharma, the idea of the self-healing factory.
It really is a massive shift. And if you're a CXO listening, your sources are hammering home two key drivers here. It's all about getting to zero unplanned downtime and hitting zero-defect manufacturing. That's really the end game for Pharma 4.0.
Zero downtime, zero defects. Wow. That sounds like way more than just, tweaking efficiencies. We've had automation for ages, but this feels like a whole different level, a real evolutionary leap, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a leap from being reactive, waiting for an alarm, to being predictive, using AI to guess what might go wrong. And finally, landing on autonomous. The self-healing factory detects, diagnoses, and crucially, resolves issues on its own. It often corrects itself before a human even notices something fluctuated.
Fixing the problem before it is problem. Okay, that's the core idea. So for you listening, we're going to break down the 4 pillars of real autonomy, look at the AI tech making it happen, quantify the payoff, and it's big, up to $21 million a year for a mid-sized plant, and cover the changes needed in culture and regulation too.
Right. Let's maybe start by making that distinction really clear. Automation versus autonomy.
Okay, so traditional automation is fixed rules, right? If A, then B. How does autonomy break free from that rigidity? How does it get, smart?
Yeah, traditional automation is basically like a really good recipe follower. It sticks to the script, very rigid. Autonomy, though, it's predictive, it's adaptive.
Yeah.
That's because it has AI and machine learning built in. This lets it learn, adapt, and provide continuous quality assurance. It can actually move away from fixed settings intelligently if needed. It's not just scheduled maintenance anymore, it's condition-based action.
So the systems aren't just watching. They're sensing, predicting, and adjusting, all in real time. To help frame this self-healing idea for the listener, your sources mention 4 pillars, sort of stages of capability.
That's right. These 4 really define what makes a system smart and adaptive. First up is self-awareness. This is the bedrock. You need continuous, real-time data from everything IoT sensors, tracking vibration, temperature, composition, pressure. The system knows its status constantly.
Okay, sensing everything.
Second, self-diagnosis. The AI takes all that data and figures out not just that something's off, but why. Predictive failure detection, root cause analysis, almost instantly. Like that tiny energy spike in pump C, that means a bearing's likely to fail soon.
Pinpointing the cause.
Third is self-optimization. This is the first layer of actual correction. The system tweaks things, maybe blends speed, flow rate, drying temp in real time. It keeps the process within its validated limits, stops things from getting worse.
Minor adjustments to stay on track.
And the final step, the big one, is self-repair. Or, maybe better put, correction. This is where automated actions fully close the loop. If optimization isn't quite enough, the system triggers a specific validated correction. No human needed for standard variability.
Right, from just monitoring to actually fixing itself. That feels like the core transformation for resilience.
And that transformation, it absolutely depends on a pretty advanced integrated tech stack.
Let's talk about the intelligence layer then, AI and machine learning. For CXO, this isn't just another dashboard, right? This is the system controlling very expensive assets.
Precisely. This cognitive core makes predictive analytics possible for what we call advanced process control, or APC. So instead of just sticking to preset numbers, the AI-driven APC adapts things instantly based on live feedback. For example, if raw material comes in a bit colder than usual, the AI might automatically adjust heating to keep the reaction profile perfect. It's continuous adaptive optimization.
Adapting on the fly. Okay. Beyond the live brain, you mentioned digital twins. We know they're virtual copies, but strategically, why build a whole factory in software? What's the real value there?
The big value is predictive simulation. A digital twin lets you run thousands of what-if scenarios virtually. You can test, say, a new raw material supplier, model a formulation change, simulate equipment failure under stress, all without touching live production or risking actual product. It massively cuts commissioning risk. And you can do virtual design of experiments, DOE, compressing maybe years of physical tests into weeks of simulation.
Simulating failure without the cost.
Yeah.
That's huge. Now, the IoT sensors are the nerves, but where does the thinking happen? If you need millisecond adjustments, sending data to the cloud and back sounds risky.
That's a critical point, and the architecture solves it with distributed intelligence. It's a mix of edge and cloud computing. Edge computing is vital. It's the shop floor brain. It processes data and makes those super fast real-time decisions like adjusting a spray rate right there on the equipment, removes the whole network latency risk for critical controls.
Speed and safety, right on the line. Makes sense.
Exactly. And while the edge handles the immediate stuff, the cloud acts as the enterprise brain. That's where data from multiple sites gets aggregated. You train the big AI models there, do cross-facility benchmarking, refine algorithms, so you get instant local decisions and deep enterprise-wide learning.
Okay, let's connect this tech to actual results. Where's the biggest, most immediate payback showing up? Your sources seem to really highlight predictive maintenance, PDM.
Yeah, PDM is definitely the low-hanging fruit and often the highest impact right now. The machine learning models analyze subtle patterns in the data vibration, temperature, motor current, things like that, to predict specific failures. And we're not talking a vague warning. It's like the specific bearing in that granulator or that centrifuge is likely to fail in, say, 7 to 14 days.
That much advance notice. That's the difference between planned maintenance and a multi-million-dollar emergency shutdown, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I saw one case where PDM caught a thermal issue in a lyophilizer's cooling unit 10 days early. Scheduling the repair before it failed saved them a $5 million batch of product. The numbers back it up generally, too. You see reductions in unplanned downtime up to 85% and maintenance costs cut by around 40%. It's significant.
Okay, huge savings on keeping machines running. What about the product itself? How does this AI help get us to that zero-defect goal?
Well, it shifts us away from the old quality by testing, which is always looking backwards towards continuous quality by design, but supercharged by AI. Think computer vision systems using deep learning. Instead of spot checks or relying just on human eyes, these systems inspect 100% of the product tablets, vials, packaging, whatever. They spot tiny flaws, a minuscule chip, slight color variation, a hairline crack at full production speed, and often more accurately than people can.
Let's use that classic example, the tablet coating line. How does this self-healing actually work there? Walk us through it.
Right. It's a great example of a closed loop. So tablets are moving along, laser sensors measure the coating thickness. Let's say they detect it starting to get a bit too thick, maybe going out of spec. The AI instantly diagnoses the likely cause, calculates the fix, and it's not just one simple adjustment, and then automatically tweaks, say, the spray rate of the coating solution and the airflow speed for drying.
Wow, adjusting multiple things at once.
Exactly. And that kind of autonomous correction, it's been shown to cut defects by something like 95% and really boost the overall process capability.
That seamless quality control, that must lead towards the ultimate goal, right? Real-time release testing, RTRT.
RTRT is the game changer for speed to market. It replaces the slow traditional batch testing where product sits in quarantine with continuous inline quality validation using PEAT sensors and AI models. So instead of waiting weeks for lab results, your product is validated and potentially ready for market release in hours. Strategically, that translates to getting product to market 9 to 12 months faster than conventional methods. Huge competitive advantage.
And that advantage definitely hits the bottom line. Let's talk ROI. You mentioned some numbers. We often hear industry average OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, is kind of stuck low, maybe 37%. You're saying autonomous plants can hit 70%.
That gap from 37% average to 70% world-class, that's where the value explodes. That massive jump in throughput, quality, and reduced waste because you're cutting downtime and defects, it generates somewhere between $15 million and $21 million in extra annual value. And that's for a typical mid-sized facility.
That's a staggering number. But I have to push back a bit. What's the catch? The cost of setting up that massive data infrastructure to even enable 70% OEE must be enormous. Isn't that a huge hurdle?
That's a totally fair point. It is the main CapEx challenge. You need significant upfront investment in the sensors, the data plumbing, the computing power for the AI models, no doubt. However, you have to weigh that against the cost of not doing it. The total cost of just one major unexpected failure, lost product, remediation, investigation, regulatory headaches can often exceed the cost of the PDM system within, say, 18 to 24 months. The ROI works, but leadership has to see that data infrastructure as a core strategic asset, not just, an IT line item.
Okay, that reframes the investment, which brings us to the people. If the factory is fixing itself, are we heading towards lights-out manufacturing? does the workforce get replaced?
The vision is really augmentation, not mass replacement. That's key. Yes, lights out manufacturing running 24/7 with minimal human presence. That's a potential long-term goal, especially for sterile processes. But the immediate focus and the reality for the next decade is workforce evolution and serious upskilling.
So the operator's job doesn't vanish, it just changes fundamentally.
Exactly. People move away from routine tasks like checking gauges or manual data entry and shift towards strategic oversight. They'll be doing more complex problem solving, focusing on continuously improving the system itself. We need entirely new skill sets, ones that bridge departments that used to be separate silos.
What are those new roles then? What should a CXO be thinking about budgeting for in terms of talent?
We're seeing huge demand for AI manufacturing specialists, people who really get how to manage these predictive models on the floor, also digital twin engineers to run those virtual test environments, and critically, OT/IT integration specialists. These folks are essential because the operational technology, the OT running the machines, and the information technology, the IT managing the data, have to talk seamlessly, reliably, securely.
Bridging the physical and digital worlds.
You got it. Without those integration experts, the whole self-healing concept just doesn't work. So the big imperative is investing in training digital literacy, AML skills, critical thinking.
Okay, no matter how smart the factory gets, it has to be compliant, always. We're talking pharma, so 21 CFR Part 11 comes to mind. What are the big regulatory hurdles with AI control?
The absolute foundation is data integrity. 21 CFR Part 11 dictates rules for electronic records and signatures. Every autonomous decision, every tiny adjustment the AI makes has to be traceable, secure, with a solid audit trail, just like a paper record. Quality needs to be able to see exactly why the AI did what it did.
Makes sense. Beyond just logging the data, what about the AI itself? The FDA must be looking closely at how these complex systems work.
They are. The two biggest regulatory focus areas right now are AI explainability and model validation and lifecycle management. As these AI models get more complex, especially deep learning, regulators need assurance. They need to understand how the AI reached a decision. Why did it raise the temperature 0.2 degrees? It can't just be a black box.
And model validation.
Yeah.
That touches on the continuous learning aspect, right? If the system keeps improving itself, when does that change need regulatory approval?
Precisely. If a model is fixed, validation is relatively straightforward. But if it's continuously learning and adapting its own parameters, well, the manufacturer needs a predefined, validated plan. That plan has to state clearly when an AI-driven change is significant enough that it needs notifying or resubmitting to regulators. That's really the cutting edge of guidance development now.
Okay, so it's complex. Finally, how does a company actually do this? It sounds like a revolution, maybe not just an upgrade project.
It's definitely a transformation, but it's phased, managed for risk, usually over, say, 24 to 36 months. Phase one is getting the foundation right, assess your digital maturity, build out the IoT network, the secure data backbone. Phase two is about pilot projects. Pick high-impact areas, maybe PDM on critical equipment or AI for visual quality checks. Prove the value.
Start small, show results.
Exactly. Phase three is scaling those wins and integrating the autonomous controls with your main business systems, your MES, the manufacturing execution system on the floor, and your ERP for inventory, finance, etc.
Connecting the factory floor to the business systems. That sounds like where the real strategic value gets unlocked.
That's the point of full realization, yes. And the whole journey really depends on three things: absolute leadership commitment, real cross-functional teamwork, IT, OT, quality, all working together, and solid unified data governance so everyone trusts the data driving those autonomous actions. Hashtag tag outro.
This has been a really fascinating look at the roadmap to the self-healing factory. The vision is powerful resilience, better quality, huge financial gains by pushing OEE towards 70% and getting products out almost a year faster.
It truly is transformative. And maybe here's the final thought I'd leave you, the listener, with. Remember, these autonomous systems learn. They get better with every single production run, every self-correction they make. So the pharma companies that jump on this early, the ones running these self-healing loops 24/7, they're going to rapidly build up proprietary, highly optimized AI models their slower competitors just won't have. So the question is, how quickly does that operational data advantage become basically insurmountable? How soon does it move beyond just cost savings and actually redefine the industry standard for quality and safety, making autonomy the benchmark everyone has to meet? Something to think about.